Good afternoon, students. Today in the osteology class, we are going to discuss the inferior view of the skull or the norma bizalis. Norma bizalis is the most irregular as it forms the basis on which the rest of the skull it stands. For descriptive purposes, we divide norma bizalis into three parts: the anterior third, the middle third and the posterior third. The anterior third, it involves the alveolar arches, the hard palate and the posterior free margin of the hard palate. Alveolar arches, it also bears sockets for different teeth, and these sockets, they are essential for determination of age in a given skull. The middle third, it involves the posterior free margin of the hard palates, the area from this posterior free margin of the hard palate up to an imaginary transverse or horizontal line which is drawn along the anterior margin of the foramen magnum, or it is an imaginary transverse line just above the foramen magnum. This is the middle third of the norma bizalis. The posterior third of the norma bizalis, it involves this transverse imaginary line from this up to the superior knuckle lines. As we have discussed in the norma occipitalis, that these are the two superior knuckle lines which pass medial to laterally with concavity downwards from this external occipital protuberance. So the posterior third, it involves the part or the portion between this transverse imaginary line up to the superior knuckle line. Now on either sides, the norma bizalis, it involves the alveolar borders along with the zygomatic arch, the posterior root of the zygomatic bone and the two mastoid processes. So this all, it marks the demarcation or the entire territory of the norma bizalis. Moving on to the anterior third of the norma bizalis. It, as discussed before, involves the alveolar arches with the socket which bears the sockets for different teeth. Along with this, it involves the hard palate. This hard palate, it is formed or contributed by two bones. That is the maxilla bone. These are the two maxillas. It is contributed, this hard palate is contributed by the maxilla bone and the palatine bone. The hard palate, as you can see over here, it is highly arched and presents numerous pits within it. This is for the lodgement of the palatine glands. The anterior two-third of this hard palate, it is formed by the palatine process of the maxilla. So this is the anterior two-third of the hard palate. This is the anterior two-third which is formed by this palatine process of the maxilla. The posterior third, one-third of the hard palate, it is formed by the horizontal plate of the palatine bone. So anterior two-third is contributed by the palatine process of maxilla, one on either side, and the posterior one-third, it is formed by the horizontal plate of the palatine bone. Moving on to certain bony landmarks. So here we have the two central incisors, and just behind these two central incisors, we have a deep depression. This is called as incisive fossa. So over here we have this deep depression which is present just behind these two front incisors, central incisors teeth. This is the incisive fossa. It is a deep depression over here. And this incisive fossa, along its lateral walls, we have two incisive foramina. Once we put light on the nasal cavity, we find these two foramina, incisive foramina within the walls of this incisive fossa. Now over here you can see a suture which lies between the two palatine processes of the maxilla. This is called as intermaxillary suture. This is a midline suture or the suture present in the midline. This is the intermaxillary suture, and in continuation with this, along the posterior third of the palatine bone, you can see another suture which is a vertical suture known as the interpalatine suture. This is a continuation of the midline suture which involves the vertical limb of which involves the intermaxillary suture, and below which we have interpalatine suture. Now we also have a suture along the horizontal limb. This is between the four bones, the two palatine process of maxilla and the palatine bone. So between the maxilla and the palatine bone, we have a suture, a transverse suture known as Palatomaxillary suture. So here you can see there is a formation of a cruciate suture. A cruciate suture which is formed by the 4 bones respectively. This is the cruciate suture. Moving on to the landmarks of the anterior third of the hard palate of the norma basalis. First of all, there, as mentioned before, there are 2 central incisors, and just behind it there is a deep depression which is called as incisive fossa, and within the lateral walls of this incisive fossa are the 2 incisive foraminas. Now this incisive foramina, it acts as a communication between the nasal cavity and the oral cavity. So the greater palatine vessels, they traverse along this hard palate, and through this incisive foramina they enter the nasal cavity. Similarly, the nasopalatine nerves, the terminal portions of the nasopalatine nerves, they from this nasal cavity, they pass through this incisive foramina or the incisive fossa to enter the oral cavities. This incisive fossa, which is the deep depression, and along its walls there are 2 incisive foraminas. Now, as mentioned before, this acts as a communication between the oral cavity and the nasal cavity. Now, moving on to this greater palatine foramina. This greater palatine foramina, it lies just behind this palatomaxillary suture. So this is the palatomaxillary suture, and along the lateral aspects of this palatomaxillary suture, just behind it, you can see a single foramina, one on either side, the greater palatine foramina. Now, the greater palatine vessels and nerves, they enter through this. Now, this is the greater palatine foramina, and in front of it lies the pterygopalatine fossa. Now, the greater palatine vessels and anterior palatine nerve, it enters through this pterygopalatine fossa, and from this it enters through this greater palatine foramina, and these vessels, they traverse along the hard palate and enter the nasal cavity via this incisive fossa. So via this incisive fossa, the greater palatine vessels and nerves, they traverse the hard palate through a groove present over here on either side. They traverses the hard palate through this incisive fossa, they enter the nasal cavity. As you all know that the incisive fossa is a communication between the oral cavity and the nasal cavity. Now, just behind this greater palatine foramina, there lies 2 to 3 lesser palatine foraminas, but over here we can just see a single lesser palatine foramina. Now, again, the middle and the posterior palatine vessels and nerves, they pass through this lesser palatine foramina, and this lesser palatine foramina, as you can see over here, it lies in the pyramidal process of the palatine bone. The greater palatine foramina, it lies in the horizontal plate of the palate. It lies in the horizontal plate of the palatine bone. Over here, it lies here, whereas the lesser palatine foramen, it lies in the pyramidal process of the palatine bone. This is the horizontal process of the palatine bone which forms the posterior third of the hard palate, and this is the perpendicular plate of the palatine bone. So between this horizontal plate of the palatine bone and the perpendicular plate of the palatine bone lies a pyramidal process of the palatine bone, in which are embedded 2 to 3 lesser palatine foraminas, but over here we can see only single lesser palatine foraminas. Now, moving on to the posterior free margin of the palate, over here we can see these curved ridges. These are known as these curved ridges. Now, the posterior border of the hard palate, as discussed before, it is free and presents the posterior nasal spine. This is a spine-like process or a bony projection which is present over here in the midline or in the median plane. This is called as posterior nasal spine. This posterior nasal spine, it gives attachment to the musculus uvula. This musculus uvulae, it is the muscle of the soft palate, one on either side. Now, these are, these are the horizontal plates of the palatine bone, and this is the posterior free margin, which is concave and free. Now, between the posterior free margin and the horizontal plate, there over here you can see two elevations. So this is called as the palatine crest. So the palatine crest, it is a curved ridge near the posterior border. It begins behind the, you can say this is the greater palatine foramina. It begins behind the greater palatine foramina and it runs medially. So this palatine crest, it gives attachment to the palatine aponeurosis. Now palatine aponeurosis is nothing but the aponeurosis of the tensor veli palatini muscle. So we can say that is posterior free border. It presents the posterior nasal spine in its median plane. This posterior nasal spine, this gives attachment to the musculus uvulae, and the palatine crest, which are the elevations on the either sides between the horizontal plate and the posterior free margins, they give attachment to the palatine aponeurosis, which is the aponeurosis of the tensor veli palatine, which is a muscle of the soft palate, along with this posterior free margin also, which gives attachment to the palatine aponeurosis. This is all about the norma bizalis anterior third. The middle third, which extends from this posterior free margin up to the imaginary line, and from this imaginary line above the foramen magnum up to the superior knuckle line, middle and third parts, posterior parts will be discussed in the subsequent videos.